original.
And I'm in love with the money.
Today I have with me Michelle O'Connor. Michelle O'Connor is a business strategist and consultant, and I'll have her introduce herself. Go ahead, Michelle.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for having me, Cardine. It's a pleasure to be here talking to you about a topic that a lot of us sometimes mull over. But I'm a business strategist. I help entrepreneurs to develop growth plans that can reduce their stress and help them to be very focused on the goals that they want to achieve and doing that with ease. And currently, I'm focused on helping private practice, medical practice owners to develop those plans. As I got from them, Michelle, we did do business in medical school, and so we need your help. So we are not running and spinning like a hamster on a wheel. So that's what I currently do.
Awesome. And that is so critical, right? Because while we come in with our expertise, running a business might not necessarily be one of them. So we might need to acquire those skills along the way. So you say that you help businesses create their business strategies. So tell me more. What is a business strategy? What elements do you consider when thinking about building out your business strategy?
So I know some persons, sometimes you have an idea to do something and we normally want to just jump at it. I'm good at this thing. I can make money. Let me go ahead and do it. But I really encourage persons to create a business plan. And creating the business plan, that serves many purposes. Persons take it seriously when you have one. And if you want to get a loan from the bank, you're onboarding a business partner, you're hiring people, you have this thing. Now, your business plan outlines what your vision and your mission is. And I don't encourage persons to take that lightly, simply because when you have a vision for your business, you know where you're going and you know why you're doing it. And so when you get to the highs and the lows, your mission and your vision is what drives you. Now, the next thing you want to do is that you want to be very clear on what you're offering. What is that product? What is that service that I'm offering to persons? Define it clearly. You will refine it as you go along because it's not static, but at least get it out of your mind, get it on paper. When you see things, sometimes you're able to figure out whether or not it makes sense or if it's working. The next thing you want to do is to scan your environment. So you want to look at the market. You want to see who am I going to be offering this to? And are there other persons doing what I'm doing? Because how you differentiate yourself is really what is going to make the difference and help you to go to another level or tap into a part of the market that may be underserved. Along with that, you now want to know how are you going to be spreading the word. So you know that there are persons out there. You know that they need it. Now, how am I going to reach them? Am I going to be doing social media? Am I going to be doing events? What are the conferences that are there for me to reach persons? If I have a product, am I going to be giving away samples? Things like those you want to look on. And then that also helps you to figure out how you're going to completely deliver your service to persons. The next thing, the second to last thing is you need a financial, you need a budget. Let me put it that way. Sometimes persons hear financial analysis and it sounds a little complicated, but you need to know what to reach persons and to deliver your product or your service to them. And you also want to be very clear on how much you're going to be generating. Whether you are for-profit or non-profit, you are generating income. One is keeping in the company, another one is giving it to others. So you need to know that. And the last thing that persons normally forget about, I'm going to make some profits, so I'm good. We need to do our risk assessment. You need to make sure that all the various risks, you have identified them, and then you're going back and looking at whether or not these risks are imminent. How am I going to manage, or how am I going to mitigate these risks? So that's what I want persons to remember.
And all critical points, right? And these are applicable to any type of business, whether you are a sole proprietor, whether you're in a partnership, you're incorporated, or you have a complex structure, including a trust, right? And you mentioned a few things. You mentioned having a plan. You mentioned competitor analysis, knowing who your competition is, your market analysis, who you're serving, right? And what they want, what you're bringing to the market. And financials, always that's critical to look at a financial analysis, have your targets, your KPIs. I'm also a CPA, right? So that is also my wheelhouse, right? And of course, risk management. And when people think about risk management, they think about um, maybe a catastrophe in the business, a natural disaster, or what if the economy changes. But there's also another element to risk management that, as you said, people might put it off, but it's so important. And the part I'd like to highlight is the risk of the what ifs in the
Yeah.
business. What if something happens to the owners or the key players? And some of these uncertainties that will impact the business, no matter how it is structured, is the risk of the death of the owner,
Yeah.
risk of critical illness, risk of disability. If your business requires that you show up in order for it to generate revenue, you dying, you becoming ill, you becoming disabled will impact how this business is able to support
Yeah.
the families that rely on it, right?
Right. And I think, one of the things that our persons can remember is the same way you want to have a security guard or, at your door, you need to have a security system. That's the same thing that your insurance does. And
Yes.
we don't realize when I have conversations with CEOs sometimes, they are concerned about the next step. And it's because they don't have these risk mitigating strategies in place. I am stressed because I need to show up every day. I can't be sick. But what you're saying is, if you are sick, there is something that you can put in place,
There
for
is.
that, because your business can go on without you if you put things in place to manage that.
Exactly. That's the thing, right? Consider too where the future of the business. If you're not there, how would you like it to continue? Right? So, for example, family businesses, this is very critical. Corporations, some people they're incorporated, but their spouse isn't included. What happens if something happens to you in the business, and the business then is forced to liquidate? How will the assets be settled? How will the family be taken care of? Right?
Yeah.
How do you transition if you want the business to continue? And having life insurance in the case of death means that there's a lump sum payout to support the family that relies on the business, to support the business in transitioning into new ownership or getting on new skills to replace the person who passed. And in the instance of a critical illness or disability, you'll have that lump sum coming in to take care of the business as well as your medical expenses. So you can bring in the expertise to help support the business.
And it's
Disability is
Yeah.
monthly income, right?
Right. And it's
And-
important that persons think about it like that, because when you're working for a corporation, they have those things in place for you. No, you are the corporation, you are the entity, and your family is relying on you, your employees are relying on you. What are you putting in place to make sure that your business is operating? I always say to people, listen, think about your business like a large organization. You may not be able to afford all the things, but make sure that the tiny elements are there. Those nuts and bolts, they're all needed to operate.
Yes, and when you have that safety net built into that security guard built into your business, I think it provides a level of freedom, right, and confidence when you're moving through your business. And also want to highlight, as you said, you mentioned a certain few areas: marketing, business analysis, finances, risk management. I know for one that you need to have an insurance advisor, especially when you build out your partnerships agreements or your buy-sell agreements as part of your shareholders agreement, right? But what other team members would you suggest people think about having on their team when growing a business, or maybe expertise that they tend to reach out to?
Yeah. No man is an island. We can't do it alone. Like, we're gonna die trying to do it alone.
Yes.
So I really encourage persons, if it's even as I go through, if it's even on a contractual basis, an advisory basis where you're calling on these persons when needed, ensure that you have a team of expertise who can help you. So I know most of us have accountants, and we have accountants because we need to file our taxes. I do encourage persons, have somebody who can interpret those finances for you, because your finances are supposed to be helping you to make business decisions and not just filing your taxes. So when you look at your numbers, you're supposed to be able to say, okay, how much revenue am I generating from this cost I'm spending on marketing? What's the cost of my overhead? Is it going in the right direction that I want it to go to? Sometimes I meet person, they're like, oh, I don't need a business advisor, I'm good. I'm like, all right, let's just have a conversation. When we look at the financials, okay, you haven't been growing for the past 5 years. So sometimes because we're doing okay. We don't believe that we need persons to get to the next level. So I really encourage you need to have somebody who is looking at your accounting. Of course, you need a lawyer, because as you know, you share just now, how you structure your corporation, how you structure your entity has impact on what happens. It's a part of the risk management. What if something happens to you and your spouse was not a part of the business? What is that plan? You need to ensure that you have that. Other person that you can have that you pull into your community, somebody who is into IT. I had a friend the other day who her online portal was hacked, because there was no security, the safety net that's, and I know sometimes we're a small business and we're starting, we have a little person helping us here and there, and we may not be able to afford anything else, but have somebody that you can pick their brain and you can ask them questions that they're coming on your team and giving you that advice. Have someone who's helping you to think long-term. This is your business advisor, your consultant. I need to get to this level in a few years' time. How do I get there? And when you're thinking about, the list can go on, but what I encourage persons to do, think about, this is where your plan comes in. Your plan is going to tell you where you need to go a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. Think about your strengths. Think about your areas that need development or your weaknesses, and build on those. Bring in persons to help you with that. Don't try and work on it all on your own. Build on, whether you listen to a podcast, whether you're interviewing somebody who have the expertise and you're gaining the knowledge, there are different ways to do it. But think about where you want your business to go from having a business plan or your business strategy, and bring persons into your community to grow based on where your next level is.
All right. That's a very good point. Surround yourself with the people who can get you where you want to be, people who have already been there and can help you go along the way. And I just want to point out another important thing about scaling your business, because you said you're thinking about what happens a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. So scaling your business is very important. And also using your life insurance to pool capital to help you scale, because one of the things that entrepreneurs and self-employed persons or businesses face a challenge with is raising capital. So you can become your own build your own store of capital that you can easily leverage to scale in the future, and you can do this inside of your life insurance policy, whether it's individually owned or owned by your corporation. So again, surrounding yourself with people who know how, right? Not just supporting your business today, but supporting your business as how you envision it 5-10 years from today, right? And helping you plan the step-by-step path within that strategy to get there. So I know I target 15 minutes for these lives. So any final thoughts that you'd want to share with our viewers?
I want persons to remember that I get from persons, you have this idea, you want to just get going and you want to make some money. But it's important that you have somebody around you who can help you think through. I normally say to persons that we can't see our own blind spot. I need somebody who is working with me. I have a mastermind team that I meet with once per month, and my accountability partner on a weekly basis, to talk about what goals did I set, what did I achieve, and what was in my way, and also what's my blind spot. It's like when you're driving, there's a certain part that you're not able to see, even if nothing is wrong with your eyesight, but somebody else on the outside is able to see. So I encourage persons to bring somebody in who can help you to think about it, who you can dump your ideas on, and they can put it together in a seamless way where okay, month 1, month 2, these are the things I'm focusing on. Another thing I want persons to remember is review. Ensure you're doing your reviews monthly basis, quarterly basis, and go in not thinking judgment, not thinking what I didn't do, but think about, okay, I did this thing, maybe I can refine it and I can do it another way. So ensure that your team, it could be a spouse, it could be a friend, it could be just persons who are interested in giving back, ensure that they can be a part of the team. And as I was sharing with Cardine, I actually did a live about how to create a business plan. I'm going to drop the link in the chat, and I'm going to share it with Cardine as well. You can go on YouTube and check it out.
Awesome. And before we head out, I have to say, I just love your jacket.
Thank you. I'm always a shade person, so I'm like, okay, let me try some color.
I just love it. All right, Michelle, quickly, how can people get in touch with you?
So you can reach me at Success Business Club everywhere, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and my number is on the screen. It's Michelle O'Connor, Success Business Club, and it's BIZNESS. So go ahead and reach out to me. Lots of material that we have can help you, and you'll be relieved. You know, you have somebody you can just dump your ideas on, and you get it back in a way where you're like, why didn't I do this long ago?
Okay, and you guys know me, Cardine Williams, insurance advisor and strategist, 647-951-6905. Thank you so much for listening. Watch the replay if you missed the live. Michelle, again, thank you so much for joining us. And nice chat. Okay, so guys, look out for further conversations with myself and Michelle. Thank you so much for joining.